standard. What is the standard? Striya cha purusha. I don't want to make any some cheap comment, but I'm using the English word. A beautiful women, young women, adorned with all the gold jewelry, move alone freely in your estate. Move alone. Apurusha. Remember the word. Apurusha. Move alone freely in your estate. Then you understand that now your estate has respect for women. And also, you have law and order, everything is maintained, nobody touches. This is very important. Therefore, is the highest respect for women. Sixth sutra is from Mahabharata. Ek varnas tada loko, non-discriminatory social system. I don't want to, I will go in detail later on. Just here I want to just give you this thought. Shantanu wanted to marry Satyavati. Who is Satyavati? Shantanu is a Kshatriya king. That Satyavati is a fisherman daughter, And aaj ka dada, understand, aaj ka dada type, chal teri beti utha lete hain, I will lift your beti and nobody will care. But that fisherman daughter, that daughter father, fisherman has the guts to tell the king, if you want to marry my daughter, you have to fulfill the conditions. See the guts of that person and see the no status in the society. That fellow also has the same status. Finally, king has to come down. Devvrat has to accept that, and finally she was married. So there is no discrimination on that part. Seventh sutra is care for nature from the Santi mantra. Eighth sutra, morning they were talking about. Eighth sutra is from Prithvi Sukta from Atharvaveda. Mata Bhumi, Putram Prithibhyan, Mata Bhumi, respect for the land. Wherever we Hindus are, you need to be patriotic, This is what the 8th sutra principle of this book is, and everything is from the Shastra, nothing is from my side. I have only give commentary. And coming to this youth point, the problem with the youth, first, we are not teaching them what is about the Hindu, The unfortunate part, across the world I travel, what is that? Hindu means Dandiya, Garba, Bhangra, Bharatnatyam, Holi, Diwali. This is what our identity is. Very unfortunate. Another nowadays stereotyping our Hindu identity means, butter chicken kya hai? There is a system, butter chicken and masala something. Something, another stereotyping is, but Hindu means butter chicken something masala. I don't know, I have not eaten, So these are the things. First, we need to educate our youth and society who we are, what is our wisdom, and how we see our world, And once that will happen, then in 100 days, this, realization will come. Nasto mohi smriti labdva, That will happen. Then the real nature of building up society, nation will begin. And that is what our society was lacking. Therefore, it took some time. Sandeep ji is here when I first started working on this book. And now this year we offered, this is my Gurdakshina to the Sangh. I am a Swamsevak and Pracharak also. I thought, this is 100 years, there is no better way to pay my Gurdakshina, because many of you are Swamsevak here, you fellows are rich, you make money. I am a sadhu, you can say in English, we are non-producing member of the community. Grihasthas are producing member of community, sadhus are non-producing member of the community, they are non-contributing member of the society. So I thought, this is my contribution.
Thank you, Swamiji. Coming to you, Swami Mitrananji, I have heard you often say that tell the young people that don't let your life become your social media feed. Let it be a field. Let it be a field of activity. So today when we see our youth, and that's a common complaint of parents like me, that our children are forever, digitally engrossed, how do we find answers in our scriptures, in our shastras, that will help the young people discover a life of silence, seva and self-realization?
My salutations to Swami Vijnanananji, Shafaliji, and to everyone present here. Pranam, good afternoon. The first and foremost, to the young people, we need to adapt the language which they are familiar with. And when we use that kind of a language, they do get what we want to say. So my working with youth, My working with youth has been making them do what you want, the way in which they like doing it. I'm repeating. Get this point, you'll do very well with youngsters. Make them do what you want, but the way in which they like doing it. This formula works. Suppose we want to tell them, let's study Kamba Ramayan. They're not interested. Kamba Ramayan, young people, because it takes time for them to admire the depth of it. At 17, 18, to bring in Kamban, interest into Kamba Ramayan is extremely hard. So what we do there is, let us say, we create a theatre. Saying, now let's write dialogues from Kamban. Let's create a play. So, and then suddenly you'll find all of them sitting there and doing research on Kamba Ramayan to pick up the finest lines to write a play. Now, we wanted them to read Kamba Ramayan. Theatre became a source for them to read. You mentioned about Awakening Indians to India. That was a book which we did probably 25 years ago, and the book was done totally by young people. I'm talking 2.5 decades ago. We said we need a book with 500 facts on Bharat. Different topics. So we sat together. Imagine a group of 70, 80 people sitting and doing research on India, what should come. Then that book was made, Awakening Indians to India. We took it to Dr. Abdul Kalam. He did the foreword for it. And we conducted a quiz across the country. More than 285,000 children from universities participated. And then the same quiz went into television for 13 weeks. ZTV brought it. Now this entire work was done by the youth. But if I have to call them and say, I give a discourse on Bharat, come sit, they don't get it. But you threw the work back on them, and imagine doing research and making, today research is quite easy. It's available on your phone. 25 years ago, you need to go to all possible libraries to pick this up. So method of working with youth is this way. And then you initiate them into higher thinking, where we tell them, listen, if you need to evolve from human to divine, that's what the goal of human life is. We are all born human. By the time we pass away, we should be divine. Then we have fulfilled the purpose of our birth. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So we fulfill the purpose of our life if we realize that the goal is divine. And to reach there, the Antakarna, Shuddhi has to take place. The Upanishad says, Manohi dvividam proktam, Shuddham ashuddham evacha. The mind is of two types, pure, impure. Shuddham, kama vivarjitam. Ashuddham, kama sankalpam. A mind which is selfish is impure. A mind which is selfless is pure. So to reach the higher, we need this purification of the mind, which is a mandatory. No one can reach to the divine without cleansing the mind. If a selfless work is done in the right spirit, the mind purifies. So giving them work, a higher, nobler goal, which obviously is selfless, and teaching them to dedicate it to the higher, slowly the purification takes place. That makes youngsters turn towards this. Now coming to the digital age, we need to first understand where they spend the time. So when I do classes to the parents in our schools and all that, I ask even our teachers, I ask, are you aware of on what your child is spending time? Unless you are aware of it, you can't correct the child. So even if we have to make a Balviyar curriculum, syllabus, we need to know, because our spiritual class is once a week. 1 hour a week. And how much time do you think a child studying 5th standard would spend on digital content?
5 to 6 hours now.
A day? 7 days? 35 hours? 35 hours of digital influence and 1 hour of spirituality. We must be kidding. Please understand the influence. So we need to know that system well and then guide them. That if you have to spend time in that, where all you can spend time. How you can spend time. So we make them work. I have done quite a bit with the digital content. Show them the way. And slowly they pick up that they belong to this country. They belong to this Dharma. They are somewhere the protectors of it. Then they start voicing out. So in the end, I'll show you once we are done with this. We have just made I have used the youngsters only totally, all non-professionals, but working with passion. So we have made a digital content, I'll show you the trailer, of Kambaramayan, where our youngsters have worked on AI. Nobody is professional, but it is the passion that Kambaramayan needs to be highlighted. So they learn how to use tools like Midjourney, how to use tools like Nano Banana. They pick up these kind of tools, work on it, and do. So going back, you want to work with youth, make them do what you want. But the field should be what they like doing it. So you give them, right, learn Nano Banana, learn Midjourney. They're like, learn Midjourney. So Sannyasi is telling them. And they learn. And then what they produce from it, we create warriors who can handle this kind of a thing. Yeah.
Now, just to add, Swamiji, I will give you my experience. When we were organizing National Hindu Conference in Australia, youth, our a small team of youth, their understanding was Swamiji is very hard, very tough, very, this is how my image is, very disciplined, structured man. So when we had a meeting, whatever they demand, I accepted them, Last, they told we will do, during the conference was during the time of this, what is called Easter, they do egg hunt, in European culture, egg hunt. So they told we will do something like that. So I told we will buy Rasgulla from Haldiram, you do Rasgulla hunt. I will tell you, they did 3-day powerful conference, 300 youth, and we were sitting in the back because this conference is run by them. They put a board, tell us what to do. Don't tell us how to do. We will surprise you by the result.
That is an amazing parenting mantra, actually. I think everybody who is a parent to teenagers would do well to remember this. Awakening India to Indians, with my own experience, I can say that it makes an excellent gift for a child's birthday if the child is between the age of 10 to say 16. I have given, for my children's birthday, every birthday I have given only that book, and that book it's a really, really good book. Every child should read it, every adult should read it. Coming back to you, Swami Vidyanandanji, I would like you to talk a little bit about your first sutra, about Artha, but with a very specific thing in mind. I have often read and I have often heard also people speak that charity is not very habitual to Hindus. Only Christians do charity, or only people from other religions do charity. Hindus don't do charity. So if you read this book, it talks a lot about this. So I would like you to throw some light on this.
See, in this book, first, we are two sannyasi, Mayavadi, Vedanti, sometimes talking all these things don't look nice. This first chapter is on economy, I have mentioned here from all the Shastra, the importance of wealth. First is realize the importance of wealth. If we as a Hindu, we have forgotten the importance of wealth, importance of wealth. Second part is how wealth is created, For that, what type of policy framework is needed. So all those things from the Shastra, these all from the 5,000-year-old, taxation, how taxation should be there, everything is mentioned, Even I have mentioned, people talk about this socialistic thing, only against capitalistic exploitation only came from the Marx and Europe, from Prince Kropotkin, Bakunin and Marx and Engels. Here in the Mahabharata they are talking You cannot exploit anybody, Their dharma, artha, kama. If you exploit anybody wealth, you are exploiting against that. Coming to what she was talking about, the charity thing. Ultimate, we as a Hindu, we are aspiring for the higher goal in our life. What is the ultimate purpose for Hindu? For the wealth creation. When I was running a World Hindu Economic Forum in Bangkok, journalists asked me, what is the difference between other philosophy and your economic philosophy? So I told them, socialistic philosophy talk about the distribution of wealth. America, snatch from the rich and distribute to the poor. Communists talk about the creation of wealth, but they don't talk about sharing of the wealth. Hindu are the one who first talk about, this is from the Vedas, Sata Hasta Samahara Sahastra Hastra Sankira. Create wealth with the 100. First, create with the 100 cent. If you are a smart, intelligent, fortunate, you have creating wealth. But same wealth, share with 1,000 hand, Satahasta Samahara, Sahasta Hasta Sankira. Create wealth with 100 and serve with 1,000 hand. This is what the Hindu purpose of wealth creation. That is what our concept of charity, seva is there. We are not doing philanthropy for us. It is seva, And coming to this important part, generally, what she was telling, because the Christian only bombard us, we don't do seva. I'm just giving example. I don't know about the Coimbatore, because I will give you example in Delhi, because the best colleges in Delhi is all created by society, not by any government. Hindu college, Ramjas college, Kirorimal college, Hansraj college, all the best colleges. I always tell, the best colleges, education institution is all started by the society. Even now, even in the modern time, Banaras Hindu University is the world's largest university in one campus with the departments. It is not created by any government. So, you can see all these all by charity. I don't want to go into detail, otherwise it will be lecture, There is a survey, post 1857 survey, that is 11-volume survey. This Hindu society, why it was not enslaved by permanently, always it was fighting, resisting. So there is a survey. Hume was the chairman of that survey. He is writing a society living in India based on volunteer, mutual, spontaneous cooperation. You understand? This is what he is. Unless and until you destroy this, you cannot make them permanent slave. And he is giving example. Here you have those days, you have this is a warm country. Everywhere you have pyao. Pyao, pani ko kya kehte? Pyao, what you say here in the free water. So those days they put ghada, mud pot, ghada, and fill the water. He is telling, if you have to do in England, we have to prepare budget, we have to put the ghada, and every day we have to fill the water in that. Here it is very common, spontaneous. There is nobody budget, there is no guidance. This is part of the society. He is talking about Kumbh Mela. Millions and millions of people are coming. No government is feeding. People are fed there. This is how the society is there. So charity, seva was not philanthropy in the European sense. For us, it was part of the seva. Unfortunately, we were made poor by the European, looted, plunder, and become poor and poor. How much poor person can do seva? This is how the society is. Now, I was discussing with Mohandas Pai. Mohandas Pai told me, Swamiji, panam, means. Now the wealth is coming. We are getting prosperous. Our strength is also coming. Courage, is also coming, and we are regaining our pride. So, therefore, the first sutra talks about the economic strength of the Hindu society. And the last part I have mentioned, why we became poor. So, there is a 3 book. There is a famous book you all must read. One book is especially The Case for India by Vildura. How British looted about that. This is not Sasi Tharoor. That is all old record. So, the summary of that book, there is a 2-volume book by Arshida, Economic History of India, part 1, part 2. The summary of the 2, how they looted and we made us poor. And also I have given how we were rich, not from our side, Angus Madison data, how we were rich. So the first chapter is on this.
Swami Mitrananji, in your book, Gita for Yuva, you reveal the Gita and you select some shlokas from it and you use it as a life manual more than anything else. So my question to you is this. Today, if Arjuna were to be a 22-year-old startup owner who is flummoxed by the challenges of the market or whatever, what would be Lord Krishna's first WhatsApp message to him?
Before we go into this, I'll continue where Vijnananji said. For us, wealth which we get, and then it is deep in us to give it as service. Very often, when we ask young people, school children, university students, tell some people who served, first name would come out as Mother Teresa. Not Amritanandamayi. Not Satya Sai Baba. Running free hospitals. So in this regard, some 15 years back, we started. I met Gurumurti ji and we had a discussion, and Chinmaya Mission took this up, saying, we will organize Hindu spiritual service fair. So first time when we did, around 35 Hindu organizations came together. It was just like you have the industrial fair. We organized a Hindu spiritual service fair. And slowly it went up. More than 400 plus organizations came. What they do is just put up what is the service done. What is the service done by these people? How many hospitals are there? How many schools are there? How many orphanages we run? How many medical centers are there? This way you just collect the data and you put, and as people are walking out, that would be the biggest banner they have to see. That's when the Hindu woke up, like saying, we have been serving. We have been serving. Imagine the food being served. How many ashrams, how many temples, how many gurudwaras, food is just served. Nobody stays hungry there.
These Kumbh Mela, 650 million people were fed. No government gave them money.
So collectively what we give is very, very, very high. And last point on this, there is a difference. A service done at the effect level is always noticed. Service done at the cost level, not all will notice. Suppose, let me say, if this place is all dirty, and both of us go there, pick it up, all the dirt, and we put that in a basket, people will cover. 2 sannyasis clean the road. On the other hand, if you have visited all the houses and tell them, don't litter, nobody would notice it. That would not be seen as service. When you serve the effect, it will be noticed. When you serve the cause, it is not noticed. Now please think, Ramakrishna Mission, RSS, VHP, Chinmaya Mission, Art of Living, Isha Foundation, Satya Sai Baba, Shankara Mats. You take all the Hindu organizations. If these organizations are not there, what would be the drugs in the society? What would be the, orphanage, destitutes? You prevent all this from happening. Never noticed as service. So our way of serving is like we do it because for us service is prayer. Because we believe seva will purify me. If I serve, I become pure. Really speaking, in a simplest way, if we have to say, the distance between us and God is our selfishness.
Very well.
The distance between us and God is our selfishness. Reduce the selfishness, we are divine. Seva gives us opportunity to bring God closer. So we work that way. Now coming back to, if Krishna has to send a WhatsApp or Instagram post to Arjuna, probably he would say, I use his own language. Yeah. Are you not ashamed spending time on this? Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam. When did you land into this, Arjuna? There's much more for you in the world out there to do. And how are you stuck here, hours together and being influenced? Get out, go out, live life. So Arjuna, Krishna would have screamed at him. Exact same words. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam. That should be a good message. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. This question is for both of you, and I take reference from the book, The Hindu Manifesto. When you're talking about defending our country from the enemy, there is a chapter in there about Hindu resistance to Muslim invaders. Now, this is again one thing that our history has never taught us. It has only taught us that we kept on getting defeated. So that is why we were enslaved. These stories of our valor were never told to us. So I would like both of you actually to talk about this a little bit.
First morning session, they were talking about Satru Bodha, you know. This is, I'm telling, our Shastras are very clear about the Satru. This word is created from Sadrli Sadhantane, means this purpose of this sutra, root is means defeating enemy. That is the Satru word itself means you need to defeat them, you know. That is actual meaning. Coming to our Shastra, I'm telling you, our Shastra telling, Jam Janita Dharmasya Moolam Sarva Sukasya. Victory in war is considered dharma activity. Don't understand, eh? Only doing tan ghanti puja temple is not dharma. Defeating enemy in the war is also considered dharma activity. And remember, there was somebody was telling, oh, hamare yahan, you know, Sarnagati ki raksha karo. Somebody came and morning, Sridhar was telling, no, our Shastra is very clear. Those who are good people, they should be given refuge. Bad people should not be given refuge, you know. Daya tasmin na kartabya sarnagat iti uttata. Those who are bad people, enemy people, don't give refuge. Don't give saran. Defeat them, destroy them. That is dharma. And nikriti pragya hantabya iti nishchita. Enemy, if it is a crooked, should be destroyed with a crooked stratagem. We as a Hindu, we are such a fool, stupid society. Always these 2-3 words, sarnagat, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, Sarve Bhantu Sukhna. From where I don't know, we have learned these too much. You know, I'm telling you how we have lost. I will come to her point. This Prithviraj Chauhan defeated several times to Gauri. Last time Gauri came, we should have defeated, destroyed, finished. Yeah. We left him go. He left him go. That fellow came. Prithviraj again went to all the army in Thaneshwar. He told that Gauri is sending letter, look, I'm not coming to fight. I know I cannot fight with you. Because I am sent by the Khalifa, therefore I have come. Give me some time, I will go return back. And receiving that letter, people relax. And morning, 4 o'clock, when he was going with the lota in the call of nature, you know, Prithviraj Chauhan, that time Gauri attacked him. And this is how we lost thousands of years, you know. So our Shastra is very clear. Defeat the enemy using all the strategic means, you know. Nikritya, if, you know, Samarth Guru Ramdas word, Sathe Mahasati, you know. If enemy is a Sat, crooked, you should become Maha crooked, you know. Then only you can defeat the enemy. And remember thing, Brajantite mood diya parabham bhavantiye mayavasi mainam. Person, if enemy is Mayavi, you know, if you are not becoming Mayavi, then you will be loser, huh? So, Shastras are very clear. Coming to her point, you know, I'm just giving you, first after death of Muhammad Sahib, you know, Islam captured entire Central Asia, half of the Europe, North and East Africa, and entire Arabian Peninsula within 100 years. That is known as the greatest military victory in the world. Same Islam first attacked 636 Common Era in Bharuch first, then they attacked Thane, that there was no Mumbai that time. And 712 somehow they got foothold in the Sindh. It took them come to Delhi 1196, almost 1206. It took them 500 to travel from Sindh to Delhi. 20 generations our ancestors fought with them, you know. So it is great resistance. And many times we have defeated them. And somebody was telling, oh, we have not attacked. These are all bakwas, you know. You know, we have a Confederate army. That time, these all historians have given. Many times our people have organized Confederate army. Nobody, no doubt, some king will be led. But he was supported the Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, UP, Haryana. All they were supplying with the army, soldier, ration, everything. And this Confederate army used to go and attack. We have attacked up to the Basra. This our Kashmiri king fellow, our Lalita Aditya attacked up to the Beijing, you know. We have attacked Beijing, all the Turkish, Central Asian. So we have always doing this, and this coming. So unfortunate part is that this thought is not given. So what I did, there was one professor in Meerut University, Ram Gopal Misra. He wrote a famous book, research book. Before retirement, he took his PhD leave. He went to the Aligarh Muslim University. There he went through all the Islamic chronicles. And through that he wrote Indian resistance to early Muslim invader, So that book summary I have given here, how we as a Hindu society resisted to all the foreign attack. And also Sitaram Goyal wrote a book, Heroic Hindu Resistance. Both the book summary is given here, how we resisted. We have not surrendered. Still we are fighting. And remember, our ancestors fought with almost 115 generation. Post-independence, 3 generation you are getting tired, You remember, 115 generation our ancestors fought and resisted. Therefore, in this air-conditioned hall here in Coimbatore, you are enjoying. Otherwise, many of you become Joseph and Samuel, and we will become Muhammad, Falana and Dikana.
Before coming to Mitrananji for the answer to this same question, I want to ask one question to the audience. How many of you have heard of Swami Vidyaranya? Okay. But even in a room like this, even in an audience like this, 100% hands did not go up. There is a reason why I am raising this question. Sage Vidyaranya was the guru of Hakka and Bukka who actually got them back into Hindu Dharma. They were forcibly converted. And Chinmay Mission did a wonderful theatrical production based on Swami Vidyaranya's life, and I have seen it. And they have made it so beautifully relevant to the current scenario that everybody who is watching this knows the story of our true heroes. So I would like to ask Swami Mitrananji about his opinion on this and about using stories like this about our heroes and how we can make it more approachable to the youth.
Yeah. Vidya Bharati and Chinmaya Mission came together 3 years ago. We worked on history books for standard 6, 7 and 8. The books are titled Radiant Bharat, Resilient Bharat, Resurgent Bharat. So 6th standard was, for that age, we have brought out what was Bharat. How did we have 32% of the world GDP? What was the kind of richness across the country what we have? So that was a very, very good introduction to the standard 6 for the history. So all the Vidya Bharati schools and Chinmaya Mission, Vidya Bharati, for you, Vidya Bharati runs around 26,000 schools. RSS Sangh.
They are the largest schooling program in the world.
Correct. And like-minded Hindu schools have joined. So last time when I got to know, around 60,000 books were out last year. People buy these books and it's the school curriculum. So 6th standard is all about the glory, radiant. 7th standard is all about resilient. Like Swamiji said, when there was from Sindh to come to Delhi, it took time for them. That's because there was always a resistance. Very, very strong, resilient. Otherwise, they would have wiped out long ago. These resilient heroes are not discussed. We talk about conqueror. We speak about what they did, etc. Who resisted them? So we have picked up all the resistance forces. And that's the research which we did. And that's the book for the 7th standard. 3rd standard is Resurgent. That Bharat is now coming back. Yes, we had our own time of weakness, etc. No more, it is not anymore the same. We are rising and we are moving. It's like today, in my understanding of Bharat, we must be very honest about it. We must thank RSS first. They served for 100 years. Biggest resistance force which brought Bharat together and move forward. So it's like a U-turn. We have lost the road, went on the wrong side. Now we have made the turn. It's a matter of time we come to the point. Since the turn is made, we have to just grind the last bit of it, grin and bear. Come back to the point where we lost, and after that it would be a speed in which we would progress. Nobody can find us. We would really go forward. Because it's that U-turn we have already made. Where we have lost, Now we are getting back to that point. But the wrong route which we are going, the turn is already made. I think the next generation maximum, they will reach to the point where we went off, and from there won't be any turning back. So, radiant, resilient, resurgent, we have to be aggressive. I 100% agree with what Vijnananji said, and we are friends. So I cannot even disagree. We have been friends for maybe 20 years now. So, and our thinking is the same. I endorse every bit of what he said, that we have to be aggressively good. Krishna did not spare. If Karna has to be killed, he said, kill him. There's no weapon, nothing. Don't talk all these. Because what he did, he deserves a death. Just finish him. Because Karna did that. I mean, he could go and cut a teenager's string, the bow, from the back. 7 of them attacking Abhimanyu. Where are these guys? They deserve mercy? Definitely not. So when his chariot was stuck on the road, and he could not move, he said, cut his head. He did not mince words. He was straight. He was very clear that these deserve that punishment. Do it. So that Hinduism, that spirit is something which we need to be bringing it back. We need to bring it back. We have to be vocal. If that aggressive goodness can come back, you don't harm anybody. Krishna did not go to harm anybody. But those who deserve that punishment, he showed no mercy. And he went ahead with it.
Just to add, I forgot one thing. Ram Gopal Mishra thesis is why we lost to Islam, because we started behaving with Islamic invader as a football tournament. So we should not behave with the enemy as a tournament. Enemy should be always identified, defeated and destroyed.
That is a very, very inspiring and very necessary thought at this time of the day. Now I come to another controversy created, actually. There is tons of literature available, atrocity literature, about how women are ill-treated in India, how women were always given a secondary position in Hinduism. You know, the usual tropes of sati, this, that, whatever. But when I read your book and the chapter on women, it gives a totally different picture. Now my question to you is, how is this concept of Stree Shakti different from the Western notions of feminism, one, and what is our thought relating to women?
So first you have to understand, I'm just for your clarification, some conservative will say women has no right of reading Veda, chanting. I'm telling you all these are bogus, these bogus completely, I'm telling you the Rig Veda, Brihad Devata has mentioned 28 Mahila Rishi. I am using the Mahila, women Rishi. They have not used the word Mahila Rishi, female Rishi. They have used Brahmavadini. 28 Brahmavadini Rishi. Rishi is gender neutral. Don't, feminine, masculine. This is gender neutral. That is the highest position. 28 female Rishis are mentioned in the Rig Veda. I have collected all their mantra, put it here. I have not translated because book will become very big. So providing highest respect, remember, not equality, Equality, what is the difference between men and women, X and X and X and Y? Two chromosome difference, XX chromosome, XY chromosome. Rest is the same thing. Haddi, all the bone, marrow, everything is the same. There is no, equality is given in the nature. How as a civilization we are giving, so I have written as a sutra, highest respect for women. This is from the Rig Veda, Agra Eti Yuti Haryana, Come to the Western concept. Western concept, in the name of equality, I'm telling you, this is Western, in the name of equality to the women, they have snatched their dignity, You understand? In the name of equality, they have snatched their dignity. Oh, I don't know how to explain in English, when you are saving also, there is a women there. I don't know how they do add, when you are saving, there is also women. When you are selling car also, in ad there will be women in a scanty dress. Everywhere objectification of women is there, That is what they have portrayed. And therefore, I don't want to say, per capita, the amount of law you can create, amount of liberalism you can create, where is the highest rape capital of the world? Britain. Per 1 lakh, there is 170 rape happening in Britain. In Sweden, which is the richest paisawala country, 84, 85 rape is happening per 1 lakh. And Bharat, 2.8, because still we have hold the respect for women in our society. So this is difference. They are talking about equality. We are not talking about the equality. We are talking about the respect. Shastra say, I have mentioned in the book, in any circumstances, women should not be killed. In any circumstances, they should not be insulted. Any circumstances, they should not be insulted. And even if they are at wrong side, they are not at fault. That is what all I have mentioned. This is not new. This is all from those days. And coming to you are talking about how the difference is there. Satyabhama is asking Draupadi, how come Pandavas are doing Dharma activity? So, the Draupadi is telling, I look after the income and expenditure of the state. For your point of view, modern time, she is a housemaker, house lady is green, homemaker. Homemaker. She is not employed any bureaucrats, COPO, she is not CO. But what she is telling, I look up the income and expenditure of the state of the Pandavas. I look after the finance and administration of Pandavas. Then they have time to do the Dharma activity. You can see the involvement in the decision making of that state. That is what our status of women is different from European concept. In the name of equality, they have snatched their dignity. What is our feminine divinity? We have to give respect, And coming to the again higher point, in Shastra say, Upadhyana dasacharyam satampita sahastren pitrin matra gaurvani trichim. One teacher is a greater, one principal is greater than the 10 teacher. One father is greater than the 100 principal. One mother is greater than the 1,000 father. This is what our concept is.
Yeah, I add a few points on this, mainly to you and to the organizers. This is something which we need to look into, because these kind of narratives have been pushed on us very strongly. It has to be handled intellectually. It has to be handled with facts. So how do I fact check a book? How do I fact check a book? If there is, let's say, Bhagavad Gita, how do I fact check Bhagavad Gita? How do I understand what is Gita talking about? For literature festival, this is very important. Maybe, like Western Ghats Lit Fest can think about this as one of the things to do further. In our method of analyzing a book, we call it Shad with a Linga. Shad with a Linga. 6 points. It's a very time-tested Hindu method of analyzing a book.
Analyzing knowledge.
Knowledge, basically. First point is Upakrama Upasamhara. A book should have a beginning and an end. In case of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was confused. Arjuna got clarity. The book had a beginning and an end. Upakrama Upasamhara. First point. Second point, what is that book repeating again and again? What is repeated in that book constantly? Abhyasa. What is the book repeating? Which point? Yes, Bhagavad Gita speaks about heaven. Mrityu lokam vishanti. Shine punya mrityu lokam. You go, heaven is spoken in the Gita. Maybe 5 verses. But moksha is spoken more often. So what is the point is repeated again and again in that book? Abhyasa. Second point. Third, what is original about that book? Look at the way of analyzing. If we write a book, it should be, is it an original thought? Or is it a plagiarized? Or is it taken from somewhere? Is there original? Now look, there was never a book like Mahabharata. Or in a battlefield of war. I mean, in a war, knowledge being given. Very, very unique. Apurvata. Absolutely new, fresh, not copied, original idea. Apurvata. Next, the next point is Arthavada. What is the book praising about? Is the book praising about realization of God, or is the book praising about X, Y, Z? So you need to check what is the book praising. That is called Arthavada. Upakrama Upasamhara, Abhyasa, Apurvata, Arthavada, Phala. If I read this book, what will I get? Phala. Sixth point is upapati. Is it logical? Is it rational? Does it follow a method of understanding? Or it is random thoughts put together? Or there is a step-by-step growth? Does it follow? Now these are the 6 methods. Hindu method of analyzing a book. We must bring this. Put this concept, let the judgment be our style, not somebody from outside giving us a method by which they will judge a book. We must keep our method to judge our books. If we adopt this matrix, this lens of Shadvida Linga, what Swamiji said, from Rig Veda onwards, how women are respected. You will bring it down and you will see Arthavada would be women. Apurvata speaking would be women. Abhyasa, glory of women was repeated. And Phala, how she holds the family, how one is benefited. Everything you will see how we have praised and positioned women. That would come out. We should use our lens to prove our point. If we can do this, we will definitely change the narrative. So this is called Shadvida Linga. Literature. Hereafter, any book or any talk, if a person gives a lecture, you keep the 6 points and analyze, you will get the gist of the talk. It had a beginning, had an end, repeated these points again and again. This is the uniqueness, never heard anywhere. This is something, this is what the person praised. If I follow, I'll get this. And there was a logical flow. So it can be a talk which can be analyzed. It can be a book which can be analyzed. If we can do that, we will show to the world every aspect of ours where we have positioned different values. It is called Shadvida Linga. Introduce this into the literary fest so that we will be in a position to examine, investigate, understand a book perfectly. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's 3:25. I have 5 minutes. This discussion can go on and on and on. There are lots of points to be covered, but I will take questions, yes. So I'm ending it here. Thank you very much for such an enlightening discussion. I really enjoyed hosting this. And I will now open the floor for questions. We just have 5 minutes. So please just ask the question. Do not make any observations.
It is there in many of our books. Vedanta Saram and all that, it is there.
Methodology, those who understand what is Swamiji mentioned, you will get Vedanta Sar, many will get it.
Vedanta Sar is one book, but there are many books. Yeah. Two. Now you would go Chat GPT, you ask Shadvida Linga. Chat GPT will give you all 6 points. Because no, Swamiji, it will give. Because we trained it. We repeated it and made it understand. Yeah. It will give. Yeah.
Any other questions I would like all the students here to ask?
Before a student, I will just, because time there is no. See, I'm talking about the territory of Bharat. Morning somebody was telling. So King Mandata said, King Mandata said that under his rule, the region included Yavanas, Greeks, Kirata, Central Asia, Gandhara, Afghanistan, China. China was under us. They used to pay taxes. Sarbara. Barbara means Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mali, Niger, Mauritania. Saka, Tusara, Kanka, Palwa, Iranian. Andhra, Madrika, Pondra, Pulinda, Ramatha, Cambodia, Upper Himalaya. These are all the area under us. We have lost this territory. I wrote this only because China say we have captured this part, that part. I told whole China was under us, so you should return back.
No, one second. What he read out, what Swamiji read out is very important. Whether we do it or not, but this flame should be on. We need to reclaim every lost territory. That torch has to be handed over. It has to go to the next generation. It can't be done in our lifetime. Certain goals are few decades. So it has to be passed to the next generation, that every inch of the territory lost should be reclaimed. Every position which we lost has to be reclaimed. If we were once guide to the world, that position we should reclaim.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
When we are
So, you see, I am telling you, see, still we are holding this political power in last 1,000 year only 8 to 12 year, 12 year. It will take little more time, everything will come. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So you should strive for that.
No, sir, one second. I'll explain further. You can't take all battles at the same time. We don't have the bandwidth. We don't have it. It is easy for us to feel about it, but we really don't have the bandwidth to take all battles at a time. And to win these battles, you need political power. So whichever party is willing to support these things, we should favor them. So, and they should stay in power. So, one by one, the battles can be taken over. It will happen. What you feel is a feeling, not 1, 2, at least 70% of India feels for it. It will come.
The young man there.
Swamiji, so many people like Dorothy, they ridicule our gods and they make like a lot of bad comments about our religion. So is it really necessary to engage with them and prove them that they are wrong? Because we know that it is nonsense, and engaging with them will give them support, as that issue will get discussed more even though it's not there.
We should know to give it back to them in a very smart way. You should have wit for it, satire for it, put it out in that way that guy feels ashamed. And you should have your own team. This can't be taken one. You put a comment, let us say, someone posts something derogatory. You counter it. You need support. I'll tell you, there was Kurukshetra once. Okay. Today it is all logarithms. The war is there. You need to have your support. You should convince your friends, etc., that this I'm countering, and you counter this way. And if 20 of them pounce on that one person, he'll be silenced. So you need to counter that way. It can't go away like that, because there are some people who do not know to counter, read it and get frustrated. That frustration is not going to help us. We need young people, intellectual warriors, who will know to give it back intellectually. That is important.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful
Before just concluding,
conversation.
I just want to mention in this chapter 6, I have explained what is the original meaning of Varna. What is the actual meaning of Jati? Jati is not the word Brahman Jati, Kshatriya Jati, Jati, Akriti Jati Lingakya from the Shastra, It is cognition in the mind. That is actually Jati. What is actually Jatiya, national, You have Bangladesh Jatiya Party, BNP. That is national, Jatiya Sansad. In the national meaning. There is a word Gyati. Gyati means Kulam Vansaparam. That is a misconstruct, this Gyati word has become Jati, That is a big mistake in our tradition we have done. So all those things I have explained here. In the last, those who say that our society discriminated Karna because of caste, this is totally wrong. Karna was educated in the same Gurukul along with the Pandava, Kaurava, along other prince in the same Gurukul by Dronacharya, Kripacharya, So this is all bogus thing. There is no fact. This is only TV created thing, Namaste.
I have a request. We have created a AI Kambaramayan AI version. It's a 2-minute trailer. Young people, someone who's in school final, someone who's in the first year university, these youngsters made it. We would release it very soon, but you can just see the trailer of it. It's just 2 minutes.
And then you will see how internationally Hindu youth are thinking about the society. That video I will also play.
Play Kambaramayan now, and then, yeah. If the lights can go off, it will be better. Thanks. Yeah, sure.
you that video. Got it? Is there? There?
Technical glitch.
Rewind.
என்ன என்னத்த
என் சூரிய குல மன்னரில் ராமனைப் போல புதல்வனை பெற்றவர் யார்?
கோரி ஒன்றுட வீரத்தும் எடுத்துடன்
ஒன்றிதான் என் செய் உலக அழிவதல்ல.
விண்ணாட்டவர் மன்னவர் யாவரும் நிற்க இனி பெண்ணாட்டம் போட்டே
இவன் அயோத்திக்கு வந்தேன். வா, அன்றே அவன்
என்னத்த
என் சூரிய குல மன்னரில் ராமனைப் போல புதல்வனை பெற்றவர் யார்?
Forward. Yeah, I think we rewind.
today
It is not the human. No, left one. No, it is, yeah, left, yeah. Yeah.
Namaste. Hindu sisters and brothers, this message is for you. We live in a time where the world is changing rapidly. As Hindu youth, we are the descendants of a profound, knowledge-rich, contributing, and ancient civilization, and the builders of a future that awaits us.
but it's not without challenges. We can only succeed by taking up leadership, by continuing to be an engaged driving force in all spheres of human endeavour.
But why? What is a necessity? Whether we like it or not, believe it or not, accept it or not, the reality is, Hindu youth are the ones who have to face the future. We can either be prepared for it, or deal with the consequences of our inaction. For thousands of years, our ancestral homeland has endured countless challenges, standing resilient through it all. Generations ago, many of our ancestors were taken far from home as indentured labourers, enduring hardship and carrying the weight of indignity. And today, the challenges haven't dissipated. From Pakistan to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka to Malaysia, human rights struggles continue for Hindus across the globe, and it is continuing to spread. Even now, our Hindu sisters and brothers are facing these atrocities bravely. However, together we can shift this tide and overcome these challenges. Our strength lies not just in our temples or festivals. We build economies, push the boundaries of education, and shape academia. Our stories resonate through the media. We
stand firm in the defense of human rights, and we play a vital role in shaping the politics that guide our nations.
To make an impact in these spaces, we need Hindu youth stepping forward. Stepping forward as academicians, entrepreneurs, journalists, actors, artists, lawyers, human rights defenders, civil servants, diplomats, bureaucrats, political leaders, and much more. Leaders who will not only uplift our community, but will shape the future of your nation positively as a whole.
When we participate in these sectors, we take a seat at the decision-making table, ensuring that the voice of Hindu society is heard, and that the interests of Hindu society are furthered. In addition to becoming leaders of our community, we take leadership for the wider society and country. And you are not alone in this. Across the world, there are thriving examples of Hindu youth and student organizations where young people, just like you, are leading the way.
From Hindu Youth New Zealand, Hindu Youth Australia, the National Hindu Students Forum in the UK, Hindu Students Council in the USA, KMHDI and Parada in Indonesia, Hindu Yuba, and many more. Youth from all denominations and all walks of Hindu life coming together to work for the betterment of society.
These organizations remind us that when we unite and work for the collective, we strengthen the Hindu society as a whole. We can create a movement that is resilient, capable, and prepared for the future.
Now is your time. Step into leadership in your community and beyond. Contribute to the sectors that shape our world: economy, education, media, administration, diplomacy, politics, and human rights.
Together, we will not only protect and strengthen our Dharma, but build a future where young Hindu voices lead in every space.
Let's build a future worthy of our heritage. A future led by us.
On that note, we request Sundar Ramachandran, Director, Varandah Club, to felicitate Swami Vidyananda ji. Shri Jayakumar Vishwanathan to felicitate Swami Mitrananda ji. And Shri Tushar of Agami to felicitate Srimati Shefali ji.
This is a faithful reproduction of Shivaji Maharaj's Talwar, which is in a museum in UK. And Agami, Rahul, Tushar, who presented this to me, he is the one behind the faithful reproduction. Give him a big hand.
We thank the Swamijis and Shefaliji for their powerful discussion that called for a return to Bharat's civilizational clarity, where Seva is the root of service, not philanthropy, and Shakti is revered, not commodified. We move on to the next event. The next discussion. From the sacred corridors of mythology to the fast-paced thrill of modern fiction, Sri Ashwin Sanghi bridges epochs through his storytelling. In conversation with Srimati Shefali ji, this session explores how Bharat's timeless narrative instinct continues to shape the stories we tell and the truths we seek. I invite Sri Ashwin Sanghi and Srimati Shefali Vaidya for a discussion around myths, murders and manuscripts, why India loves her stories again.
Hello. Namaste. I am back. For one more hour, you will have to endure me. But I promise you again, this is going to be a very, 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 very interesting conversation, because the speaker is one of the most erudite and one of the wittiest people I have come across. I have heard him lots of times. I'm a big fan. And in an age where we complain that our young people don't read, I remember I was at the airport once and I sent him the picture also. And there was a group of young people waiting for their flights. There were about 20 of them. And 19 of them were looking into their screens. There was only one girl who was reading a book. And guess who was the author of that book? No prizes for guessing. It was Ashwin Sanghi. And I sent him that picture also, because it's really remarkable that the one person who was reading that book was reading your book. And I think you deserve a huge round of applause for that. So I am calling this session the Sanghi Sutra. See, you can't help it. आपके तो नाम में ही संगी है. He wears many hats. He is an entrepreneur. He is a businessman. He is a thriller writer. He is a best-selling writer. He is also a writer of self-help books. I don't know how many of you know about that. Have you read any of those books? 13 Steps to Good Health, 13 Steps to Parenting, 13 Steps to Good Luck. There are 13 steps, right? But most people know him as a writer of thrillers. I also primarily know him as a writer of thrillers. This is an honest confession. This 13 thing I only realized when I was researching on him, and I realized that he's written these books. But I would like to know more about this. My first question to you. Yeah. Please.
We can see each other.
Yeah.
Perfect. Lovely.
So my first question to you is, you were a businessman long before you were an author. So what made you transition and write the Rosabal line, which was your first book? What
Nowadays
made you
that
write?
word transition is very dangerous, no? What dangerous word.
Yeah, these days, yes.
But, no, you know, I was born in a family where my father is Marwadi. My mother is a Bania from Kanpur. So Marwadi Bania combination deadly. And it was taken for granted that, you know, this guy is going to get into business. He's going to trade. He's going to do a job of a merchant. As we would say in Hindi, ye gaddi pe baithega. So the one uncommon factor in my life was my Nanaji, who lived in Kanpur. And Nanaji was, of course, he was a businessman himself. But more importantly, he was a person who was very well read. And he was fluent in multiple languages. He spoke English, Hindi, Urdu, Arabic, Persian, and Latin. And he had a vast library in Kanpur, thousands of books. And he would very lovingly send me one book every week from Kanpur to Bombay. And he would say, Beta, isko padho. And the rule was that the moment I was done reading it, I had to send him a letter telling him what I had read, whether I liked it, didn't like it, why I liked it or disliked it. It was the earliest form of writing a book review. And of course, my father was equally determined that I must get properly trained into business. So it was taken for granted that by age 21, 22, you finish your MBA and start working. And which means that from a young age, during my summer holidays, etc., I was sent to my father's either factory or to the office. There was a Munimji, a Marwadi Munimji, who used to teach me the Bahi Khata, how to write both single entry as well as double entry systems. And he would tell me, he said, you know, all these books that you read, there are so many words in them, but in your life you only need to remember two words, debit and credit. And if you can master those two, then everything else is taken care of. And so I would go back to Nanaji when he would come to Bombay. I would say, Nanaji, Munimji says that don't waste your time with books. And Nanaji kept it going all the way till the mid-90s. Till mid-90s, I was receiving books from him. Even when I went for my MBA to America, his books used to come there, but once a month. 4 or 5 books would come together. And during his lifetime, he sent me a little over 300 books. But he would always say that, beta, look, at the end of the day, you are a Marwadi Banya. So, you will always, your primary worship will be Lakshmi. तुम तो लक्ष्मी जी की पूजा करोगे, because that is in your DNA. But he used to always say that there is a very curious relationship between Lakshmi and Saraswati. He would say that Lakshmi wants to be wherever Saraswati is. So if Lakshmi is in this room, if Saraswati is in this room, then Lakshmi also wants to be here. And if Saraswati gets up and goes away, then Lakshmi is curious, why has she gone? So let me find out, let me also go. So he would always say that, beta, you know, even if your objective is to go for Lakshmi, the route to Lakshmi is through Saraswati. And he would also say that in our wisdom, in our ancient wisdom, the only deity who can sit between Lakshmi and Saraswati and keep them in the same room is Ganesha. So live your life like Ganesha, which is why I look the way I do. But at a more serious level, it's actually, what he was trying to tell me was that wealth and wisdom and Lakshmi and Saraswati and books and business, they all go hand in hand. And I think that was the learning. So he had hardwired my brain. I finished my master's sometime in the early 90s. I came back, started working, and then I forgot. Nanaji passed away, I think, in the mid-90s. And I forgot about all of the stuff that he had inculcated in me, because I went into a life of business. And then sometime around 2002, my father sent me for a day to Kashmir, to Srinagar, because a very close family friend, the daughter was getting married. And it was height of tension in Kashmir at that time. Everything was closed down. There were checkposts every 100 meters. And I reached there because father had said, I can't go. You please go for one day and come back. So I went. And unfortunately, the next day, when I was supposed to return, my flight got cancelled. And those were the good old days of IAC, Indian Airlines, where, you know, you had one flight or at the most 2 flights happening in the day. So I was stuck in that hotel. Most of the hotel was lying shuttered up. I could hear my own footsteps in the corridor. And I was getting totally mentally psyched out. So I told the driver, I said, take me to some, mujhe sair karwao. He said, Saab, yahan par sair? Srinagar was really sort of under lockdown. So he said, will you go to Hazrat Bal? I said, I've been. He said, you want to go to Shankaracharya? I said, I've been. He said, Chashma Shahi. All the touristy places I'd been. Then he finally said, Roza Bal. I said, what is this? So he said, Roza Bal is also famous. A lot of people go there. So I said, okay, let's go. And we went through all these winding gullies. And at that time, it was terrifying. Let me tell you, in 2002, going through those old winding gullies of Srinagar is a little bit like sitting in a thriller movie and you're sort of like the sitting duck. Anyway, we reached this very, very ordinary sort of tomb, maybe around 15 feet by 15 feet. And simple whitewashed walls. Walked in, and there is a sarcophagus with the head pointing towards Mecca. So the board outside reads that this is the tomb of a Pir. His name is Nasiruddin, and he was buried there sometime around the 13th century. But what is really fascinating about Roza Bal is that there is an earlier burial under Nasiruddin. And that dates back to the origin of the tomb. And the local land records show that there has been something standing at that point since 112 AD. So 2,000 odd years. The person who lies buried there, the underneath wala, that is not with the head pointing towards Mecca. That is an east-west burial, which was the direction in which the ancient Jews used to bury their dead. The common story around that is that there was a saint who came from a very far off land. His name was Yuz Asaf. And Yuz Asaf means, translated, the leader of the healed. So the great healer. And he came and he preached love and tolerance and kindness. And then when he died, he was buried there. And then, of course, later on, 1300 years ago, Nasiruddin was also buried there. But what is fascinating is that outside the burial space, there is a carving. And the carving shows a pair of human feet. And on those human feet, on that carving, there are little cross marks. Those cross marks are the points where the nails for a crucifixion would have been hammered. So it is the common folklore is that Yuz Asaf was none other than Jesus Christ. And of course, there are many, many parts of that puzzle, including the Nicholas Notovich theory of 1887 that the lost years of Jesus Christ was spent in India and all of that. And I just got fascinated by that place. And it reached a point where I wanted to talk to anyone who knew about it. I wanted to read anything. I spent the next year and a half, 2 years reading over 40 books on various parts related back to that. And eventually my wife got fed up of me. She said, you know what? She said, you have become a pain. Because anyone opens a topic of discussion with you and you will come back to this. So she said, you have a kida inside you. And you got to get rid of that kida. So I said, what do I do? She said, write about it. So I started writing a thesis. And that thesis was going to be about 30, 40 pages long, where I would take all the bits and pieces of the story and try and connect the dots. I wrote it. I gave it to my wife. I said, read it. Tell me what you think. Next morning, she said, Ashwin, congratulations. So I was very happy. Congratulations. That means it's good. So she said, no, congratulations, because I think you have discovered a cure for insomnia. Because it is so boring. In one page, I was flat out. I fell asleep. Who is going to read this? And that's the time I realized that if I need to tell something, I can't tell it the way it is meant to be told. I will need to find a different way of telling it. And that's when I ended up converting that 40-page document into the Rosabal line. Sorry, Shefali ji, एक question पे अगर इतना time होगा.
No, but it's a fascinating story. And you're talking about, making your books interesting. I think Ashwin is probably the only person here who has in the audience a young lady who has written a book on his books. So popular are his books, and she would like to meet you after this conversation. But it's really fascinating, the kind of books. And you've said that you like to explore India's DNA through your thrillers. I've gone through some of your past interviews. Now my question to you, and you also referred to your DNA, Abhi. So when you start thinking of new themes for your thrillers, which DNA is it that's working out? Is it your entrepreneur's risk-taking DNA, or is it your seekers wanting to know more DNA?
For me, I don't know. I take this for granted. Maybe it is my upbringing with Nanaji, who sent me some wonderful books during my growing up years. But I feel a tremendous sense of pride to be a son of this soil. This country is a place where, and for me, Bharat is not a geography. It is not a landmass. For me, it is almost, you could say, an arc of ancient Vedic wisdom almost. I still find it fascinating that today we are talking about Afghanistan and Kandahar, but we forget that Kandahar was Gandhar and that there was a Gandhari. Or we forget that the word Iran comes to you from Aryan Vaija, which is the land of the Aryans. We forget that way back in 1300 BC, you had two warring tribes, the Hittites and the Mitanni, and which is now today's modern day Turkey and Syria, and they were signing a peace agreement. And they were invoking Varun and Mitra and Indra. We've forgotten that we had someone called Bodhi Dharma who was part of the Pallava kingdom who went to China and took martial arts there. We've forgotten that the largest Vishnu temple in the world is not in India, but in Cambodia, Angkor. Or the fact that in Malaysia you still have the Ramayana being performed under the name Hikayat Seri Rama. Or that the kings of the Thailand dynasties are still the Chakri kings. They are Rama. So if you really look at the expanse, the sheer expanse of this thought, it was amazing. And to my mind, we have to find a way to be able to distill that, and that rus, that extract, we have to find a way for the next generation to be able to be damn proud that I'm here, that I've survived. I'm here to tell a story. You did your worst for thousands of years, and I'm still here.
But you're still there. Yes, absolutely.
So I think somewhere that is where I'm coming from in these stories, that it's not only about thrill. It cannot be only about thrill. It has to have a wider purpose. And so my approach really is that all my stories, I work on what I call the 3 E's. And it works in a 70-20-10. Okay. So that 70% has to be entertain. Okay. Because if I cannot entertain you, you will put down the book after 20 pages. So then the rest of my objective is not met. So I have to entertain you. So even when I'm talking with my editor, the question is not, how was this word sounding, or how is the grammar or the syntax? No. It is, did you turn the page or did the page turn itself? Because if the page turned itself, that means I'm entertaining you.
Okay.
The second part of it is that maybe when you read the book, you come across things which you didn't realize earlier. So, for example, there could be something, let's say, related to the Mahabharata, which in normal course you may not have understood or known, but it comes across in the format of a thriller. So you end up becoming a little more knowledgeable by the time that you're done reading the book. So that I consider to be educate, which is 20%. And that final, by the time you reach that last chapter, you should have a batti on moment. That batti on moment should be, arey yaar, why didn't I think of it this way? And that is the moment of enlightenment. It's that aha moment. So 70, 20, 10, entertain, educate, enlighten, and that's all I do.
That's fascinating. Another thing I've noticed about all your thrillers is that they are not linear narratives. They don't just take one subject and stick through it. It's
when
a cocktail
Rosabah Line
of,
was written, the first person who read Rosabah Line asked me, Ashwin, what were you smoking when you wrote that book? It is so difficult to figure out what the timeline is. So when people tell me, sir, I am a fan of yours, I love that person because they have put up with me. They have put up with my nonsense.
So you wrote about quantum physics in a book.
Yeah.
So and you are not even an engineer. So how do you make sure that the research that you do is authentic?
It's not. It's not. See, at the end of the day, I'm a storyteller, Shefali ji.
Okay.
So for me, it is all about being able to make you a little wiser than where you were.
Okay.
I do my best to try and cover all the bases. So, for example, go back to Keepers of the Kal Chakra.
Yeah.
Keepers of the Kal Chakra happened to me one night. I was I got up at about 4 o'clock and I was drenched in sweat because I'd been having a nightmare. And I was feeling like it was so real, so real, so real. So the next morning I asked my wife, I said, you know what? I'm just realizing one thing, that what if when I'm sitting here and talking with you and the life I'm leading now, this is the dream, and my real life is when I go into the bedroom and I lie down on my bed. And is there a way that that could be connected to quantum theory? I started looking into that. I ended up reading some books. One of the books that really influenced me was Fritjof Capra, The Tao of Physics. And then I said, no, there's much more than what meets the eye. But I realized that without quantum theory, I couldn't write it. So I had a friend of mine who's an IIT product. And I said, look, I'm not a scientist. I need to be able to figure out what is the overlap zone between quantum theory and spirituality, right? And I need to be able to put that into a story. So to do that, I need to understand quantum theory. So he said, okay, fine. You give me whiskey every Saturday night for the next 4 months.
Okay.
So for 3 or 4 months, he would come 3-4 times in the month. Okay. And of course, the absorption used to be better as the night wore on. But it gave me a very good grounding to be able to tell the rest of that story. See, I don't claim that I am some scholar or theologian or historian. And please, I keep telling people that please understand that as fiction writers, when I wrote Rosabal, someone asked me, what gives you what is your qualification to write a book on theology, and that too about the life of Jesus Christ in India? And I said, you know what? Through the years when I was growing up, my mother always used to say that you are a bloody good liar. You tell a lie with a straight face. And as fiction writers, we are liars, right? We are telling a lie. We know that we are telling a lie. But the flip side of telling a lie, is that if you're going to tell a lie, then tell the lie close to the truth. Because when you tell it close to the truth, then it becomes that much more believable. So that's what I try and do, that I'm spinning a yarn. I know that I'm telling you a fictional story, but it is based on a bedrock of research. And that research can be 80% right, 90% right. I don't claim to be 100% right. That would be foolish. But then the flip side of that also is that, it is the question that happens between this word which I hate, mythology, because people use it for me, and the word history. And they say, no, myth is fantasy. Myth is something which is just imagination. And on the other hand, history is a factual narrative. But you know what? One of my favorite definitions of history is George Santayana, who said history is a pack of lies about events that never happened, written by people who were never there. So,
maybe he read Romila Thapar. Possibly,
but the reality is that, and when you look at the corollary to that, it was C.S. Lewis who said that a myth is a lie that reveals a truth. So in that sense, sometimes a myth is actually more honest, is much more honest than what the so-called historians are telling you. So for me, even though I'm writing fiction, and I know that I'm writing it with the aim of entertaining you, I also know that my aim is to convey a deeper truth to you through that fiction. So in that sense, I feel I'm being more honest than the average historian.
You're definitely more honest than Audrey Truschke or historians like her. But you lead a very interesting life. You breakfast with Chanakya, you have lunch with Sri Krishna, you have dinner with Mazda. So in all this, in all the books that you have written, which did you find most challenging to write?
I would say probably if I see, the first book was the Rosabal line.
Yeah.
And the Rosabal line was a book which I found very challenging because it was the very first book I was writing. I had never written anything longer than a couple of pages before writing the Rosabal line. So it was challenging in that context. The next book was Chanakya's Chant, and Chanakya's Chant, I just had a party while writing it. I mean, honestly speaking, there are some books where you just have so much fun writing them that you know that your reader is going to have fun reading them. The Krishna Key, again, much more research, but not exceptionally challenging as it were. I would say after that, Sialkot Saga, again, 70 years post-independence India, easy. Keepers of the Kal Chakra, tough. Vault of Vishnu, tough, because the whole China story, I mean, honestly, writing a book which is based in your dharti is much easier than having to pick yourself up and go there and then try and figure out as to what those connections are. So even traveling in China became a real pain for me because I had to take a couple of trips into China. I'm a vegetarian. You can imagine the places I was going to. So it became a real issue. Then after the Vault of Vishnu, there was the Magicians of Mazda, which was a bit of a challenge, but not so much. I would say the toughest has been the Ayodhya Alliance.
Okay.
Because that entire space, I mean, how many of you know that there is a story which goes back to 42 AD, that's 2000 years ago, of a princess from Ayodhya who travels to Korea. And in Korea, I met the Korean ambassador a couple of weeks ago, and I told him that this is what the book is about. And he said that, do you realize that almost 1/2 of Koreans trace their lineage back to this royal couple? So in other words, they have Indian ancestry.
Yes.
And they have a great deal of respect for this couple because they trace their descendants through this line. So it is a very common story as far as the Korean part of it is concerned, but in India we've lost track of it.
Nobody knew about it, yeah.
The same thing I found even with the Bodhi Dharma story for Vault of Vishnu. That, I mean, you go to Shaolin, and in the middle of Shaolin you have this massive statue of Bodhi Dharma, looking absolutely almost lunatic-like, with long hair and fierce face. It's celebrated that the fact that this man came from India and he taught meditation, and he taught yogic breathing, and he taught martial arts. And in India, when you say Bodhidharma, Bodhidharma meaning you're talking about Buddhist religion, or what are you talking about? People don't understand that we are talking about a person who went. You ask people about the Bodhi Sena story. People are not aware. So the connectivity between India and the rest of the world, the rest of the world has nurtured those stories, whereas we have forgotten them. This is my problem even with the world of non-fiction, because I genuinely believe that today we have forgotten the Arthashastra. We are not teaching kids the Arthashastra. We are not giving it the importance that it should have, whereas the Chinese are. So they are not only learning Sun Tzu, they are also learning the Arthashastra. That's the point. I think somewhere along the way we'll need to find a way to bring all of this into greater public discourse. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. Because I'm repackaging a lot of this material and presenting it in a format that this generation can understand.
You talked about non-fiction, so let's delve a little bit about your 13-step books. Why 13?
You want the short version, long version?
We have time.
So, I had just published the Rosabal line.
Okay.
And after I published, not even published, I had finished writing the Rosabal line. I started writing it sometime around 2004, 2003, 4. I'd finished it by 2005. And then from 2005 to 2007, I was trying to find a publisher. And the average reply was thank you, but no thank you. And the reason for that was because publishers in our country were not familiar with this genre at all. They could not understand it. They said, look, if you are an Indian author, then either you should be writing a how-to book, like how to make a great biryani, or you should be writing a campus romance, which talks about your breakup. But these sort of stories, which are dense, very dense, packed with history and packed with philosophy or spirituality or having a different angle, they could not understand it. So almost about 25, 30 months had gone by and I couldn't find a publisher. So I was feeling rather down, and there was this friend of my father's, I shall not reveal his name, Punjabi gentleman, and he used to come very often and spend evenings with my dad, and they used to show a lot of love and affection to one another through the Johnny Walker Black Label. So, it's like, I won't pour for myself, but I'll pour for you. Now, if I pour for you, then you'll also pour for me. It's almost like that. So they used to pour themselves generous drinks. And they used to, there's a joke, that if you have one finger, then it is a small peg. And if you have two fingers, it's a large peg. And if it's 3 fingers, it's a patiala peg. And if it's 4 fingers, then it's pagal hai kya. Right? So, and of course, in their case, it was 4 fingers of whiskey, but not held like this, but held like this. So, they would be doing this. So one day, this gentleman, he saw me and he said, "Beta, kya ho gaya? Why are you looking so down?" And I said, for 24 months, 30 months, I've been trying to find a publisher. And I can't get published. And he said, he picked up his drink, he tossed it back effortlessly. And he said, "Beta, remember one thing. In life, 99% is about luck." I was really irritated to hear that. I said, "But what about that 1%? That must be hard work. It must be networking. It must be resources. It could be talent. There are so many things." So whatever was remaining in his glass, he knocked it back. He says, 99% is good luck. 1% is bloody good luck. 99% good luck, 1% bloody good luck. He said, 1% bloody good luck, you cannot time it. So you keep working, you keep doing your best, but that timing of that 1%, when it has to kick in, you can't figure out. That will happen when it has to happen. So that day itself had made up my mind that one day that I'm going to now keep at it. So I had a board in front of me in which it was written, J.K. Rowling, 12, and Stephen King, 30, and Gone with the Wind, 38, and Chicken Soup for the Soul, 33.
Number of editions.
Number of rejections.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How many times they had been rejected. And of course, by the time I closed, it was about close to, I think, 43.
Okay.
But between agents and publishers, over 3 years this went on. So I said, I have to be better than them because after all, I'm getting so many more rejections. I kept going. Then, many years later, after I had become famous, I was in Chennai for a Lit Fest. And I narrated this story. So a young lady, she was not convinced. She came outside and my publisher was standing next to me, Gautam, So she says, but Mr. Sanghi, if 99% is good luck and 1% is bloody good luck, then I may as well sit in my room all day, watch TV, because everything will just happen from that 99 plus 1. So my publisher started laughing. He said, now she's put up a challenge. Now you need to explain yourself, what is that 1% bloody good luck?
Okay.
So I started writing like a novella.
Okay.
That something which can be read like in one afternoon. That what is bloody good luck? And then when we were trying to figure out, it just so happened, I said that everyone has a problem with the number 13. It is counterintuitive. Okay. It is counterintuitive. You somehow or the other think of it as, Friday the 13th, or the fact that the ancient code of Hammurabi, the 13th one was the death sentence. So there is a lot of negativity associated with 13.
Number 13, yeah.
So I said, what could be better than to say that there are 13 steps for bloody good luck? That's how it was born.
Okay. Quite a story that is. You got me so engrossed, I forgot what was my next question. Next question, and I've always wondered this. In every chapter of your thrillers, you sort of keep the readers hanging. Those cliffhangers are, you're kind of, it's become like your signature step. Ashwin Sanghi, you expect a cliffhanger. So, do you have those cliffhangers in mind before you start to write, or do they just come to you as you start writing?
So it depends. Some things, first of all, remember one thing, that the material that I'm covering is in itself a cliffhanger. I remember in 2014, Dan Brown had come to visit Bombay. So his publisher, Penguin, got in touch with me and said that, Ashwin, you are called the Indian Dan Brown. So we are having an event at the NCPA. So will you please be in conversation with Dan?
Okay.
So we did that in the evening. Then after the event was over, he said, what are you doing now for dinner? I said, no, I'm free. So we crossed the NCPA, we went to the Oberoi.
Okay.
And then we sat at that restaurant till 2:30 in the morning. And after several hours, he popped a question. He said, what do you think is God? Now, this is a question coming up at about 1:30 or 2 in the morning, after several rounds of lubrication. So I had a napkin in front of me, and I wrote on that, G is equal to infinity minus K. Okay. I said, here's your definition of God. So he said, what does this mean? So I said, see, G is equal to what we consider to be divine, divinity. And infinity is the whole wide universe. Everything that is known, everything that will be known, everything that was known, everything that has existed, everything that will exist. It is the egg-shaped universe, Brahmand. Brahm, Anda. Brahmand. And I said K is the extent of human knowledge.
Okay.
So infinity minus K is divinity. So he said, now explain this to me. I said, see, the Egyptians saw the sun rise in the east and set in the west. They didn't know what it was. They said, this is Ra, the sun god. He gets up in the morning and he flies across the sky in his chariot. And when it's night, then he goes to sleep, so it becomes dark. And then later on, whether it was Aryabhatta or whether it was Copernicus or Galileo, they all explained to us what the sun was and the reason for day and night. And so suddenly the poor Ra was no longer divine because we could now understand it, right? So in that sense, divinity is that part that we don't understand. Yet. But I said in mathematics, the little that I know is that when you have an equation with infinity anywhere, it is an indeterminate equation. So in that sense, that's what God is, indeterminate. Because on one side you have infinity. And he said, I agree with you, because in my next book, I'm also talking about the Lord of the Gaps. In other words, the gaps of human understanding.
Okay.
So for me, the thrill in these books comes from those gaps. That what is it that I can tell you which makes you wonder, what if? I know he's a liar, but what if on this occasion he's telling me something that is more than what meets the eye. So that is one part of it. So getting that material together is the first part. The second part is the structure. And I wrote 2 thrillers with James Patterson. And he had a very simple formula. Put a dead body in the first chapter. So, I mean, in the first draft I wrote of that book was... Sorry, should I shut up?
No. We have time. We have time. We started late. We have some time.
No, whenever...
No, we have some time. We started late.
So, is it... I think that manuscript of mine had the murder happening in chapter 10 or 12. He said, no, I need this in chapter 1. So, the first chapter has to be like a Bombay pothole.
Okay.
You fall in and you're stuck and you can't get out. So the rest of the book follows quickly. You keep the chapters short so that before a person has a chance to absorb what is going on, the chapter has already changed.
Yeah.
And make sure that every chapter ends on a hook. So there are writers who say we get up in the morning and we look at a blank piece of paper and we figure out as to where the mood is going to take me. That sounds romantic. That's not the way I operate. Typically for me, 6 months goes away in the research. Sometimes it can go 9 months. Then 2 to 3 months to actually develop the outline.
Okay.
And the outline, for every chapter, I already know how that chapter is going to end.
Okay.
And I know exactly what will be the 2 lines that I will end that chapter with. So that you will have no alternative but to go to the next chapter.
Okay. That's interesting.
Right? And finally, after I'm done with the outline, that's when I start writing. And when I'm writing, that's the easiest what I'm doing, because it's like a child with a coloring book. He already has the outlines. Now you use a red crayon or a green crayon or a blue crayon
to fill in the
space. And then, of course, the most taxing part is the rewrites. I've always maintained that I'm a pathetic writer, but I'm a good rewriter. So I rewrite a lot. So I'll go back to the chapter, I'll polish it, I'll again sort of figure out, no, maybe this chapter needs to move here, or this can be shortened, or this is dragging. So by the time it reaches my editor, it will have gone through multiple rewrites. And that is eventually... I can't remember who it was who said that easy reading is damn hard writing.
That is true. That is very, very
damn
true.
hard writing. So I don't think we are given enough credit for the fact that we make mass consumption. So we will never be given that sort of sense of respect or regard as the literary greats of the world. But frankly, what you do, I like to compare it that there is one artist, like an M.F. Hussain, who has a blank canvas and he decides broad brush strokes. Or on the other hand, there is someone like me who's a carpenter making a chair. But by the time I make my 100th chair, probably that 100th chair will be better than the first. Because it's a craft, not an art. For me, it's a craft.
That's a very, very, very pertinent point that you made. Which brings me, it's a continuation of the previous sentence. Okay, you said that you know the outline, you know how your storyline is going to progressing. But has it ever happened that when you're writing, the characters or the theme takes its own life, and whatever you had in mind, you feel that no, this is not it. I want to, or the character takes you in a different way?
It happens sometimes, which results in a little bit of tweaking as you're going along. It's not necessary that you're going to follow 100% of the outline. But I would say that I pretty much know the origin, I know the destination, and I know the main inflection points of the story. Take, for example, a book like, hypothetically, let's say, Sialkot Saga. That is 70 years of the lifetime of two individuals, starting from 1947. Now, if you see the outline of that book, one day I will share it in a writer's workshop. That entire outline is on Excel.
Okay.
And every year is plotted out on one column, 1947, 48, 49, 50, going all the way 70 years down. And in each year, the two characters, what are their ages? Those have been plotted. What would they have been doing in those ages? That has been plotted. What was happening in India at that time? What was the social, cultural, political, historical backdrop? That has been plotted.
Okay.
And what happens in that chapter, and how does that chapter end? All of it is there in one single row.
Okay.
And that outline runs to about 15,000 words.
Okay. Just the outline?
Just the outline. So that is something where I genuinely feel that if you've done that level of work, then the writing becomes effortless.
Okay.
But I know that a lot of people shy away from that because they say he makes it so boring. The whole process, he makes it sound like as if he's doing it, as if it's operations research, manufacturing process. But the reality is that I need to keep a track of what is going on with the story. The only way I can write it is with a detailed outline.
That's fascinating, actually. If there were last question before I go to there's a rapid fire round also for you, especially for you.
I hate rapid fires. So there is nothing rapid in my life. I move slowly.
So what if there were no publishers, no readers, you were writing only for yourself? What is that one story you would like to tell?
I don't know. I think for me, as I said again, I think somewhere that one story is lurking within me where I want to be able to talk about the fact that when I look around me at the rest of the world, it amazes me that you had a great Roman civilization which had the Mithraic cults of Rome, and today no one talks about the Mithraic cults anymore. Christianity took over. Who remembers Zeus and Apollo and Hercules in the Greek civilization? Gone.
True.
The Zoroastrians saw their entire culture demolished.
Yes.
The Aborigines of Australia, their culture is gone. The Inca Maya civilization is gone. So, what is it that has kept us here? We are a pre-Bronze Age civilization. And it's not as if the attacks on us were less. The attacks on us were probably more vicious.
Yes.
So in that sense, there must have been something. Either it was, I would like to attribute it to our own resilience, that we were fighters. But this is something which doesn't come across in our historical narratives.
Our previous section
We
actually talked about that.
We are a bunch of losers. In our historical narratives, we are a bunch of losers. If you see the history of India, it's a history of losses. Losses to the British.
That's what has been told to us.
That's exactly where I'm coming from. So I think before I die, I want to write that one book. That one book, whether it is in the space of fiction or non-fiction, I don't know. But I want to write that one book where I feel that that is a legacy where I'm setting the record straight.
I hope, Insha Ganesha, Icha Ganesha, that this book comes out soon. So now we'll go to rapid fire and I'll open the floor for questions, but it's going to be a very short question and answer round. Rapid fire, a line from our scriptures that guides you personally.
Adi Shakti Namo Namaha.
Okay.
That was the line which I used in Chanakya's chant. And for me, always, people say that why is this, sorry, I know this is rapid fire, but I have to explain it. Why is it that every character in your book is a woman? And genuinely, I feel that in my life, it is Ma that has been guiding me. When I look back at the pages I've written, the next morning when I read the stuff that I wrote the previous day, I can't believe I wrote it. So at that point of time, I know that it is something else that is happening. And with every milestone in my life, I make an effort to bow down to Ma Saraswati and say, कि माँ तुमने बहुत दिया है and तुम्ही ने लिखा है, and I just hope that you will keep me grounded and not ever believe that I wrote it.
That's a beautiful thought. One word that defines India for you. Just one word.
Resilient.
Amazing. If you could spend an evening with any historical figure that you have written about, who and why?
Oh, Chanakya, no doubt.
Why?
The two figures that I hate, figures that are black or white, but shades of grey. Oh, that's exciting. That's mysterious. You talk about this person who 324 BC, and this is a man who explains as to what the duties of a king are, but in the same breath describes in the Arthashastra the technology for creating a Vishkanya to assassinate his political rivals. That's fascinating. I think what should be the depth of a king's treasury so that robbers cannot loot it? Who should construct that treasury in the depth of the jungle and then have them wiped out so that they cannot tell anyone else? What should be the angle of a chariot road so that the water drains? What should be the width of that road so that one chariot can overtake another chariot? I mean, honestly speaking, it was an ancient McKinsey manual. Better than a McKinsey manual. McKinsey manuals are recycled. This was an ancient treatise which was way ahead of its times. And I think genuinely, if there is one thing that we can do, is bring him back into public discourse, because that's those.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you can transplant everything that Kautilya said into today's context. There's a lot of stuff that you will not agree with. But at the same time, at a broad level of governance, that which is good for the country is good for the king. What an outstanding thought process. I wish we could have more of that.
Amazing. I will open the floor now to questions. Just two questions, please. One from this side, one from this side. Just two questions. Yes.
So, by the way, the latest book in the Bharat series was the Ayodhya Alliance. So I don't know if you've picked it up. Yes. If you haven't, now my Banya instincts I'm marketing to you. So please do pick it up.
Just ask the question, please, and make it really quick.
Really, your first book did not have an alliterative title, and you have had alliterative titles since then. So that's one nick I have about your title. So do you have a plan to bring out 26 titles in different letters, or how is it? And do you have regrets in not naming it in an alliteration fashion?
Hello. They've turned off my mic. They want me to get off the stage quickly now, Shefali ji. So, the Rosabal line, honestly, at the time I wrote it, I didn't realize it was ever going to become a series. So the Rosabal line was written as a standalone book. Chanakya's chant was also written as a standalone book. It was never thought that this is going to become a collection. But then when these two books did brilliantly, that's the time when I got down to writing the Krishna Key, and my publisher turned around and said, Ashwin, this Chanakya chant is sounding good. So let's follow this formula on the titles. Krishna Ki, Sialkot Saga, Vault of Vishnu, Magicians of Mazda, Keepers of the Kal Chakra. So let's follow that pattern and let's make it brand it as the Bharat collection, because all your stories deal with different facets of Bharat. So that's how. So that's why that first one stands out. You know, I must tell you, the Da Vinci Code undoubtedly a lot of people will say, but I believe that his writing was at its peak with angels and demons. And Digital Fortress was at a different level altogether, which unfortunately I believe it's underappreciated. But I would say probably Angels and Demons, he was at the top of his game with that book.
Hello. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, beta, you can meet him afterwards. Or can I take one more question from the Chinmaya student? Bacha hai. Come on, ask.
Check. Namaste, sir. It's an honor to sit here and listen to the discussion. And I read and admire a lot of books similar to these. And as a student from a culturally rooted school, my question is this fictional literary close to the truth, misleading the youth who don't know much about it? Can you please throw some light on it?
You know, the way I see it is that all of our narratives this is a country of stories. This is a land of stories. So if you take, let's say, an epic like the Ramayana, right now we had the beautiful session before where we saw the animated work and AI work that was being done. But isn't it surprising that one epic like the Ramayana could be written in 300 different ways? That you not only had the Valmiki Ramayana or the Tulsi Ramayana, but you also had the Kamba Ramayana. You could also have the Adbhut Ramayana. You could also have the Mapila Ramayana. I mean, the Mapila Ramayana, Ram is a sultan. And it's written by the Malabari Muslims. I mean, or for example, you have the Jatak Ramayana, which is the Buddhist version where Ram is a Bodhisattva. So there are 300 versions of the Ramayana, and which are different versions going all the way up to Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. Now, the one way of thinking about this would be that, listen, at the end of the day, everyone was putting their own spin on the story. They were adapting that story to the sensibilities of the audience that they were catering to. But the question you need to ask yourself is that would that story have been told 300 times if there wasn't some truth? That some great event happened. That some great king called Ram was there. And on that basis, people found 300 ways of being able to narrate it. Why did you have something which had 50,000 verses called the Jaya become, I think Jaya was 25,000, then Vijaya. Then Vijaya, then Bharat, then Mahabharat. What was the increase in the number of verses every time? Almost doubling. Do you think that again generations would have spent evolving that story in case something real was not there? For me, my wake-up call happened many years ago. I was in Kolkata and I went to a temple. Once I entered the temple, I realized when I looked closely that that temple had a green-colored throne, and on that throne, people were worshipping a portrait of Amitabh Bachchan. It was the Amitabh temple created by his fans. I came outside. I was waiting for my car, and I thought to myself, that little boy came to sell things. I bought one little book from him. It is in my library. It's called the Amitabh Chalisa. Yeah, but the point is, I was asking myself, I said, supposing Ashwin, right now your car comes, he knocks you down, you die on the spot, And as per our reincarnation theory, karmic theory, you take birth 1,000 years later. And by then the habit of worshipping Amitabh is not limited to one temple, but has now spread to 1 lakh temples. So it has become very ordinary. And someone asks you, do you think Amitabh could be real? Do you think he was a historical figure? But that's the question you just asked me about Ram and Krishna. There is always a kernel of truth which results in the layers of masala that are applied to these stories. So I'm not saying that you need to take these stories literally, but I don't believe that these stories would have been told the way they have been over multiple geographies, over multiple generations, over multiple versions, if there wasn't some kernel of truth.
Thank you so much for an amazing discussion. I've really, really enjoyed hosting this.
We request Shri Rajagopal ji to please felicitate Ashwin ji. As we proceed into a short break, couple of announcements. We will be having very, very important, very, very eye-catching, very thrilling sessions hereafter, so please stay tuned. We will be having a cultural performance